Not only was she fine with it, she was bonking the guy that put him in jail.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here's your reward.
Yeah. But it wasn't just a betrayal to him. The prosecutor and the police officer betrayed the public.
Oh, yeah.
They betrayed the public's trust.
Yes. Yes. 100%.
They should be put in jail for betraying the public's trust.
Yeah.
That matter of fact, she should lose her law license for that.
Yeah. Absolutely.
But since she's buddies with all the judges and prosecutors, I guarantee you that they let her resign with not even a slap on the wrist.
And welcome back to another episode of True Stories from a Real Private Eye. I'm your host, Vinnie Coppola. With me, as always, is Lynn Lambdin, a real private investigator in Atlanta, Georgia. And if I can take a moment again to remind you, if you haven't yet, please take a moment and subscribe to the podcast. That would really help our visibility. We love that you listen, and we hope you keep listening. But if you could subscribe, that would be oh so amazing too. But thanks for being here. Lynn, what do you got for us today?
Well, Vinnie, how you doing today, my friend?
I'm doing good, buddy. Real good. How about you?
You're looking good, so that's always a good thing.
Well, I showered.
Well, Vinnie, today I guess we're going to talk about a case out of Forsyth County.
Forsyth County, gotcha.
Yeah, Forsyth County. That's just a little bit north of Atlanta. About 45 minutes if you leave Atlanta, but if you leave Roswell here, close to where you and I's at, that's only about 25 minutes.
Okay.
It was a normal day. I got a call that I needed to file a lawsuit. And this was back in the early 2000s, mid 2000s.
Okay.
Probably more like the mid 2000s. And so I go pick up the lawsuit. This was back before electronic filing or anything. So I go pick up the lawsuit, and it's a pretty good stack of papers. So I'm thinking a lot of defendants to serve here.
Okay, so you're serving papers again.
Well, yeah, but I got to I got to go to the court and file the lawsuit.
Okay.
And so when I get to the attorney's office, the attorney says, "Here's the situation. You want to be careful." I said, "Well, why would I be careful?" They said, "Well, you're filing a lawsuit in Forsyth County, but the police officer that you're going to be is the main defendant. There's going to be several defendants, but the main defendant is a police officer who arrested a man. He was dating the man's wife, and he wanted to go on vacation with the man's wife. So he arrested the man and put him in jail to hold him in jail while he was going on vacation for a week. So he arrested him on a Thursday."
What bullshit charge did he come up with?
I don't know, remember the charges, but it was some good charges. But there's a lot. You think that's the punchline,
right?
You think that's the end of the story,
right?
Well, what happened? Well, he arrested the guy and he put him in jail and held him there for a week while he went on vacation with his wife.
Right.
End of the story.
Right.
That's just the beginning.
Really? Okay.
That's where it starts.
Okay.
So he arrests this man on a Friday, Thursday or Friday. I think it was a Friday. Because that's his last day of work, and he's going to be off work Saturday, Sunday, all the next week, and then Saturday and Sunday, and then he's going to return on the following Monday.
Okay.
So he's off work for 9 days.
Wow.
So he arrests this guy on Friday, takes him to jail, and gets up some pretty good charges. Now, a normal person's mind thinks, well, okay, he bonds out, and he's out by Monday morning. You can bond out 24 hours a day, supposedly.
Yeah.
You're supposed to have a court date within 24 hours by law, regardless of what day of the week it is or when you get arrested. In the middle of the night on a Friday night, you're supposed to have a court date within 24 hours. That's why the TV show Night Court, because you're supposed to be able to have that court date. Well, right. So that's not what happened.
Okay.
He gets the prosecutor, his buddy, the prosecutor, to trump up some charges that won't allow him to get bond, or it will cause the bond to be set so high that he can't get bond. Domestic violence, things of that nature that are more serious that keeps him from getting bond.
Right.
Well, the police officer and the police officer's buddy who showed up at the scene with him,
The prosecutor.
and the prosecutor. So it's 2 police officers and 3 prosecutors that was involved.
Okay.
So when the lawsuit was filed, the attorney filed the lawsuit against 3 prosecutors, 2 police officers, and the sheriff and the city, or the county, not the city, but the county, because it was the sheriff's department, so it was the county. And to be honest with you, it was a roller coaster ride.
Yeah.
It was bumpy. There was no ups and downs. It was just bumpy.
Okay.
It was rough. So I get to the court and I file the lawsuit, and I don't go into these looking for a fight, but I go into these thinking that, and this is my problem. This is my downfall. I go into these thinking that law enforcement and court officials and sheriffs are going to do the right thing. And I shouldn't do that because they're the dirtiest of all.
Right. Yeah. That's what I'm finding out ever since we started this podcast.
I should never go in there thinking that everybody's going to do the right thing. So I pick up these lawsuits. It's a law firm down here on Roswell Road. If you're familiar with Atlanta, you know Roswell Road. It's a pretty prominent law firm at the time. The law firm has now went out of business because the partners have all aged into retirement and have retired, and they just closed the firm. So I go pick up the lawsuit, and this was a really good attorney. He actually lived in Forsyth County at the time. And so I go file the lawsuit, and everything's going as normal. And then when the clerk gets the lawsuit filed, gets everything stamped in, gets everything registered, gets the case numbers on the complaints and everything, she walks back over to me, and she stands in front of me with the lawsuits in her arm. She picks up the phone, and she calls everybody on the lawsuit and tells them that they're being sued.
Oh no.
So now I've lost the element of surprise.
Right. Yeah.
Now the element of surprise is gone.
And that's perfectly legal, right?
Well, sure, it's perfect. I mean, it's public record. Once it's been filed, it's public record.
Yeah. And how often have you encountered anything like that?
Well, that's the only time that I've ever encountered anyone
throwing out a warning.
Well, I mean, I've had people give warning, but I've never had the clerk of court stand and hold the lawsuit for 15 minutes while she makes phone calls going, yeah, we got a little cocky, arrogant process server coming your way. Yeah. You're being sued by so-and-so claiming that he was held in jail improperly.
Yeah.
Civil rights.
So she had an attitude about it too.
Oh yeah, she had an attitude about it. Yeah. Oh yeah, she was all for the county.
Okay.
Oh yeah. And you see, this is a superior court lawsuit, not a state court.
What's the difference?
Superior court handles bigger, more serious lawsuits.
Okay.
State court can only handle. Okay, so if you get a divorce, you have to go to superior court because it's more serious.
Yeah.
You're dividing property, you're dividing assets, so it's a more serious court. It handles bigger issues. For an example, in the case that we discussed last week, Logan Sharp, a misdemeanor is handled in the state court, and a felony would be handled by the DA, which is the superior court.
Okay. So
if you're going to have your life or liberty taken away from you, it can't be handled in the state court. It has to be handled in the superior court.
Gotcha.
Although this is a civil matter, so you can't have your life or liberty taken away from you, but it's going to be handled in it's a more serious case. They're not asking for, they wasn't asking for $100,000. They were asking for 7 figures.
Wow. So it's superior court versus state court. Money amount is an issue, is a factor.
and also it was a civil rights violation.
Gotcha.
Because they violated this man's civil rights. So once that they determined that they were going to sue for civil rights, they bound it. The attorneys filed it in Superior Court.
Okay, got it.
So the first place I go was right across the street because the courthouse. This was in the old courthouse back then. They hadn't built the new courthouse yet, but this was in the old courthouse. And so the first place I go is right across the street to the sheriff's department. And I go over and I ask for the sheriff at the time was Ted Paxton. And Ted comes out, and he was the only honorable, decent human being in this whole matter.
Okay. And hence why you mentioned his name.
Hence why I mentioned his name.
Yeah.
But he really was. He was a very honorable, very upstanding man. I handed him the lawsuit, and he never indicated that he knew that it was coming. He never said that anybody would be disciplined. He never gave me any indication that he knew anything about it. But what he did say is he said, if my guys give you any trouble serving them, he said, you let me know, and I will make sure that they accept service. He said, my men are not to run from service. They are to accept service and stand up and answer for their shortcomings.
Right.
And he took me back to his office. He didn't do this out in public. He took me back to his office and asked me to have a seat. And he said, matter of fact, he took one of his business cards and he said, I'm going to give you my cell phone number. And he wrote his cell phone number down. And he said, if they give you any trouble at all, he said, you just give me a call. And I said, sir, well, I appreciate it. And I said, with you being the honorable man you are, I said, I just don't see that being a problem. I said, because hopefully, they listen to their leadership.
Yeah, rubbed off on them.
And well, he said, well, we'll see. Which I don't think he expected them to do the right thing, but he was hoping.
Yeah.
So I attempted service on the two police officers, the sheriff number one, who was the one cheating with the wife. He ran from me. I mean, he just blatantly lied and ran. But when I served his buddy who helped him, he evaded service a bunch of times, and I finally showed up at the North Precinct to serve him, and they said, "Oh yeah, he's over there in the ATV trailer." So I kind of snuck around to the edge of the SUV trailer, the ATV trailer.
ATV, yeah.
And I stuck around the back of it, and I said, "Hey, so and so," and he goes, "Yeah, that's me." And I said, "Here you go." And oh boy, he was mad. I think he called me a son of a bitch.
Oh, of course.
Yeah. So but it took me like 3 weeks to get him.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, when I was trying to serve him, I called Ted, and I told Ted, I said he's running from him. He goes, "Well, he's at the North Precinct right now. I'll call him and tell him to be there waiting on you." And naturally, he wouldn't.
Right.
He would just run from me. He wouldn't be there. But that one time, I just happened to just show up, and somebody told me he was in the ATV trailer, and they knew what I was there for because they were laughing.
Yeah.
They were laughing. But so when it come time to serve this one police officer, I chased him for weeks. So I called Ted one day, and I said, "Ted, I said, man, I said, this bastard's just running from me." I said, I said, "I know he's here." I said, "I seen him when I come in." I said, "He took off and behind locked doors, and I can't get him." He said, "Are you at the North Precinct?" I said, "I am." He said, "Where you at?" I said, "I'm outside in the parking lot." He said, "Stay right there." He made him come out and take the papers.
Nice.
And man, I'm telling you, you've seen these cartoons where steam comes out of people's ears. That's what he looked like.
I bet.
And his face was red.
Yeah.
And he was cussing. And he was telling me that I was a piece of shit.
Yeah.
And that was the terms he was using.
Yeah, because you're doing your job, of course.
Well, exactly. I didn't falsely arrest someone because I wanted to sleep with their wife for a week while they was on vacation.
Right. Yeah, yeah. But you're the bad one.
But I'm the bad guy.
Yeah, yeah.
So now we get to the three prosecutors involved. And this is where it really gets good. One prosecutor didn't have much to do with it. And I went to his house. He come out and he accepted service, no problem. Well, it was a little bit of problem, but he come out begrudgingly and accepted service. Then the other prosecutor that kind of helped the female prosecutor that was kind of the lead that helped the police officer.
Yeah.
I had to chase him for a couple of weeks, but I finally got him served. Okay. He told me when I served him, he said, we're all going to lose our job over this. I said, I don't care.
Yeah.
Don't
do illegal shit.
put an innocent man in jail. Why do I care if I lose your job?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I'm trying to serve this main prosecutor. I chase her and I chase her. Vinnie, I chase her for a month. And finally, this is in the old courthouse. I catch her in her office on the third floor, and she's behind the closed door. She won't come out. So I'm on the wall. They got chairs on the wall, and her office is directly behind that wall. I'm sitting in these chairs leaned up against the wall, and I can hear her in there talking. So I call her on the phone, and she gets on the phone because she knows it's me. And she tells me, she said, "You can't serve me. I'm a prosecutor." I said, "I don't care who you are." I said, "I've already served 2 of you cohorts."
Yeah.
And she's telling me about how that's going to be getting thrown out and I can't serve her. And I tell her, I said, "Look," and I'm calling her by name. I'm calling her by her first name, be disrespectful to her.
Yeah.
Because she don't like it. She wants you to call her Miss, whatever her name is.
Yeah.
And so we're on the phone for about 15, 20 minutes. And the last thing I said to her is, I said, "Look," I said, "You know what?" I said, "You got to be good every time I show up."
Yeah.
I said, "I only got to be good one time."
Yeah. Right.
I said, "You got to look over your shoulder every day of your life."
Yeah.
So I just get up and walk off, and I go get on the elevator. And when I come off of the elevator, right in front of you, there's a court board with the judge's court calendar. And hers calendar was that she had a trial the next day. She can't run from me in court.
Right.
So I show up at about 9 o'clock the next morning, and I sat in the front row.
Yeah.
I sat there from 9 till 12:15.
Oh, boy.
And the judge goes, "Well, we're going to take a break," and it's a DUI trial. And they had this guy dead to rights. They had the video, they had everything, and they put a great show on for the jury. And the judge is giving the instructions for the jury, and he tells the jury that they got 30 minutes for lunch, and they need to be back, and they can't be late, and all this other stuff. And he told the jury to exit out the jury door to their left. I think it was their left. Yeah, to their left. And when they got up to leave, he says, "Okay, everybody can be excused." I stepped up and I went, "Excuse me." And when she turned around, I handed her the papers.
Nice.
And she said, and I quote, she yelled, "You motherfucker." And the judge said, "What?"
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And the judge goes, "Wait a minute. Hold on." He goes, "I can't have you acting this way in front of the jury." And he had to call a mistrial.
Wow.
He said, "You can't act this way in front of the jury." He said, "I'm going to have to." And the judge is just frantically, he goes, "Bring the jury back in here."
Yeah.
And he apologized to the jury, and I'm just sitting here grinning in the front row laughing because he can't do a thing to me.
Right.
He asked her, he goes, "What's going on?" She goes, it's a personal matter, sir."
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
"No, sir, it's not a personal matter."
Yeah, yeah.
And I didn't say a word.
Matter of public record.
I never said I think he knew what happened.
Yeah.
When I think it clicked with him what had happened, that she had just been served.
Yeah.
And so he calls the jury back in, and he says, "Hey, look, I'm going to have to." He says, "So and so's outburst. I'm going to have to let this. I'm going to have to set this up as a mistrial." And he says, "You guys are free to go. You don't need to come back from lunch. You guys can leave. It's a mistrial."
Yeah.
So he let the jury go.
Wow.
And boy, he reamed her out. And I'm just sitting here grinning from ear to ear.
Yeah.
He can't tell me to leave.
Right.
Because this is a public courtroom.
Right.
Taxpayers paid for it. It's mine.
Yeah. Yeah.
And boy, she is so angry that she can't stand it. I mean, she don't want to be yelled at with me in the room.
Yeah, and she just lost her case.
And she just, well, not just she just lost her case. The day before, she just told me that I would never serve her, that I couldn't serve her,
Right.
that she was a prosecutor and she couldn't be served.
Right.
That my poor dumb ass couldn't serve her.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, whatever. Whatever.
Yeah.
If that's the way you want it, that's the way you have it.
Yeah.
And the more the judge is saying to her, the more I'm grinning.
Yeah.
And she is, oh man, she's just steaming. And finally, when the judge got done with her, she picks her stuff up and she just storms out of that courtroom.
I bet.
I mean, just storms out of that courtroom. So I never did hear the exact details of what happened.
Yeah.
But I do know that we got a favorable 7-digit settlement in the case.
Yeah.
A very large 7-digit settlement in the case.
Now, and that money came from the county, right? Because
that money came from taxpayer dollars. Yep.
Yeah.
Because she was acting as a agent of the county.
Yeah.
Her and the police officer. And I was told, I don't know I never seen the books. I never looked, but I was told that the police officer did lose his job and 2 of the 3 prosecutors lost their job.
Yeah, of course.
That's what I was told.
Yeah. I would hope so.
Yeah.
Holy cow. I mean, just arresting somebody without charges and putting them in jail. And what did you say? He stayed in jail for like 10 days?
9 days. He was in jail 9 days. Well, he bonded out. They let him bond out on the 10th day.
They let him because of the Superior Court situation.
Well, because the wife had come back in town from being on vacation with the husband on. So they went out of town on Saturday morning and they came back in. They was out of town on Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Come back in on Sunday. And then on Monday morning, the wife bonded him out of jail. Yeah.
I would have loved to have heard that conversation on the way home.
Well, sure.
Why couldn't you bond me out 9 days ago?
Yeah.
I was on vacation with a cop.
Or the cop that put you in jail.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Yeah.
What a mess.
Yeah.
This episode is brought to you by Simple Funding LLC. For all of your pre-settlement funding needs, contact Simple Funding LLC to receive your money promptly. They're a customer-centric legal funding company that provides exceptional funding solutions at affordable rates. Simple Funding covers a diverse range of cases, including car accidents, slip and falls, worker compensation, medical malpractice, wrongful death, and more. They recognize that life goes on and you need to access your funds immediately, which is why they offer clients a swift and efficient process with minimal documentation requirements. For more information, visit simplefundingllc.com or contact them directly at 678-855-6232.
But he hired the right attorney and they won the case.
Yeah. I'm going to go ahead and assume that this guy this guy divorced that.
I do not believe that they stayed in the house together another night once he found out. I'm pretty sure
and of course, she had no access to that 7-figure settlement.
No.
Yeah.
No. The divorce was.
I hope she got put in jail along with the. don't you think that the police officer should have been put in jail?
I think the police officer should have been put in
Served
jail.
time. The prosecutor should have served time, and this woman as a accessory should have served time.
I think that they all should have served time, but the woman, the wife, had no. I mean, she did nothing wrong. She committed no crime
except adultery.
Except adultery.
Yeah.
But the husband, the police officer should have definitely gotten jail time, and the prosecutor
100%.
should have definitely gotten jail time. But as well as I do. I mean, I don't know. I haven't seen their disciplinary file, but I bet you that they just negotiated I'll quit if you don't bring charges.
Oh yeah. There you go. Yeah. That's probably what happened. Yeah. But this woman had to know about it. She had to know. Oh yeah, I put your husband in jail. Don't worry about it. We're gonna go on vacation.
Yeah. Well, that was the whole. Yeah. Oh yeah, she was involved. She knew.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So
it was funny how the husband discovered it. I think he actually discovered it while he was sitting in jail. I think that the fact that he couldn't get in touch with her for 9 days, and then all of a sudden Monday morning rolls around, and I think he'd already suspected of her cheating.
Yeah.
And I think this was just kind of the icing on the cake, and then I think that's how he figured it out. I'm not really sure because this attorney didn't handle the divorce; he only handled the civil rights violation.
Yeah.
So I'm not really sure how he found out, but I think that was mentioned that's how he found out.
I mean, talk about a betrayal. I mean, it's bad enough that someone that you trust starts cheating on you, but then to sit in jail for 9 days, her knowing all about it, her completely fine with it.
Yep.
Wow.
Not only was she fine with it, she was bonking the guy that put him in jail.
Yeah. Here's your reward.
Yeah.
Oh man.
And that but you it wasn't just a betrayal to him. The prosecutor and the police officer betrayed the public.
Oh yeah.
They betrayed the public's trust.
Yes. 100%.
They should be put in jail for betraying the public's trust.
Yeah.
That matter of fact, she should lose her law license for that.
Yeah. Absolutely.
But since she's buddies with all the judges and prosecutors, I guarantee you that they let her resign with not even a slap on the wrist.
Yeah. Well, without pressing charges, she plea bargained out. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Disgusting.
And all she would have had to do was just tell me, says, honey, I don't want to be with you anymore. I'd say, well, I'll tell you what. Bye.
Yeah.
You don't need to have me put in jail for 9 days.
Yeah.
because the guy lost his job and everything.
Yeah, I bet.
Because his job actually terminated him because they thought he was a criminal.
Yeah.
So, they were saying, well, we can't have somebody like you working for us.
Right.
And that was the biggest reason that he brought the charges, was because he lost his job and lost his livelihood and everything.
Yeah. Otherwise, he was like, just let the bitch go.
Well, I don't think that he was that.
I don't think I would have either, because, you put me in jail for 9 days, and I'm the same way as you. I'm the same way as you, Lynn. I mean, if I even get an inkling that someone doesn't want to be with me, and, my whole dating career, if I even got an inkling, I'd be like, hey, see ya.
Yeah.
I don't want to be with anybody who begrudgingly spends time with me. Who wants?
I don't want to be involved with somebody that cares so little about me that they're going to let me sit in jail for 9 days while they're off screwing the guy that put me in jail.
And that. Yeah. Holy cow. It's amazing that stuff like this goes on, man. But you know what? As funny as this is, and as shocked as I am by this, I'm not surprised.
Oh no, it's not.
I'm not.
Vinnie, I've seen so much in my career that, well, I am still shocked.
Yeah.
I still see things that, I do. I still see things that I shake my head at. I'm not shocked. It's just surprising in today's world.
Yeah.
That I see things. I'll tell you, like these people that go out and burn Teslas and key Teslas, and then they cry when they get caught.
Yeah.
Now, here's my problem with that.
Yeah.
There's cameras on every street pole. There's cameras. Everybody knows that Teslas have a minimum of 6 cameras that operate. If a leaf falls off a tree, the camera kicks on.
Right.
Everybody knows this.
Yeah.
And we live in a society where that everything you do is recorded. You can't walk down the street without being recorded.
Right.
And these idiots act surprised when they're videoed. Yeah. What do you mean I'm on video?
Yeah, yeah.
What do you mean you're not on video? I'm surprised when they say, well, there was no video of the shooting. What do you mean there were no video? How was there no video?
Yeah. Yep.
How does these idiots go out and destroy a vehicle and then act surprised when they get caught?
I know.
And now here's the part that really shocks me. When number one does it, you go, okay, maybe they didn't know that there were 6 cameras on a Tesla.
Yeah.
But when guy number 100 goes, what do you mean they had cameras?
Yeah, yeah.
What do you mean?
Yeah, yeah.
99 people just got caught. You just watched 99 people on the news on camera.
Yeah.
You've not seen one news story about a Tesla being vandalized that wasn't caught.
Right.
Every person that vandalized the Tesla was videoed.
Yeah.
What made you think you were going to get away with it?
Right.
I mean,
morons. And the thinking that goes into that, okay, they don't like Elon Musk. Okay, they don't like this administration. Okay, I understand. We can't all think the same. But to go destroy someone else's property, how does that hurt Elon Musk? How does that hurt him?
It doesn't. It helps him. You know why?
Yeah.
Because the insurance is going to pay off that car, and then that person is going to go buy another Tesla,
right? That
he's going to make money off of because he's got to build another one to replace the one that they just bought.
Right. I know, it's the most ridiculous, most shallow thinking I've ever heard of.
I know, but here. I don't care how bad I hate somebody. I don't care how bad that the president or any other person in this world makes me angry. I'm not going to go out and burn somebody's car.
Me neither.
And go to prison over it. Well, I'm not going to do it.
It's not just the prison thing. It's just why? Why would I do that? Why would I go? I mean, first of all, you go out and you burn someone's property because you hate them. Then they're living rent free in your head, and
yeah, you got that too.
You're the one with the problem, man. You're just let it go, man. Go live your life.
Yeah, but look at it a little bit better than that, Vinnie. Tonight you go to bed with a beautiful woman.
Yeah.
Tomorrow you wake up someone's beautiful woman.
Yeah.
I don't want to wake up tomorrow with some hairy arm around my neck and some dude breathing on the back of my neck because I got mad because someone was elected president that I don't agree with.
Yeah.
And he enacted someone else's help, and I got mad at them and burned a car. Now Bubba's got me bent over some metal sink.
Right.
That makes no sense to me.
Yeah, yeah.
That makes absolutely no sense at all.
I should have just let it go.
Exactly.
I should have just let it go. Why did I get so angry?
Exactly.
Yeah. Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous.
I mean, how does that
make sense? Does it?
I mean, for some people, I can see it making sense. Some people would enjoy it.
Yeah.
But I'm not one of them.
No.
I
No.
mean, think about. I mean, just think about the feeling that you would have when Bubba's got you bent over, going. I mean, it's
Yeah.
just
Yeah. Yeah.
that's just not me.
So yeah. So
I,
you burned the car to get in, boy. Yeah. Yeah. Was it worth it?
but just think about. Forget about the jokes aside, but just think about that cold metal door slamming behind you, and you're locked in that 8x8 cell,
Hmm.
and somebody else telling you. And I don't mean your cellmate. I mean the guards telling you when and where you can and can't do anything,
Yeah.
and then you have to go to the bathroom right there in front of God and everybody.
Yeah.
I mean, you've just lost your whole freedom because you were so stupid
Yeah.
that you didn't even get mad at your neighbor for throwing a rock through your window.
Yeah. Yeah.
You got mad at somebody that you can't even get within 100 yards of because their security's so tight.
Right.
I don't get it.
I don't either. It's listen, there's been, I mean, people do stupid things in the name of politics. This has got to be top 5 on the list of stupid things people do because of politics and their feelings about the politics. It's easily top 5 stupidest.
Well, it's not just politics, Vinny. Look at this case. I mean, this police officer had to know in the back of his mind, he had to know that this wasn't going to work
Yeah.
because he had to know that that man that he was putting in jail was going to fight this. And he had to know, he had to go to court enough to know that he has to prove these charges. He had to know that.
Yeah.
He had to know in the back of his mind that at some point I've got to go to court and I've got to prove these charges against this man. Because if I don't, he's going to bring civil rights violations against me.
Yeah.
This
But he was too caught up in the sex with this woman to even let that sink in to his head, I mean, sure, yeah, he knew that. He had to know that. But he was like, nah, I'm taking this chick to Bermuda. Come
yeah, but I mean,
hell or high water,
there's no sex that
blinded,
good though.
blinded by the sex, blinded by it.
He probably lost his right to be a police officer,
Sure.
and so he lost his career.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know how long he'd been a police officer, but is it worth it? Is it worth losing your career over?
Yeah. Over sex.
Well, over no brains.
Over no brains.
I mean, because you can't. I mean, it wasn't like it was a heat of the moment thing.
No, this took planning, man.
This took planning.
Yeah. and during this entire planning, there was no should I not, should not. He was going full steam ahead, bro.
He was going full steam ahead.
Yeah.
When I
Dude,
always
he booked the trip before, I mean, this was weeks planning, and he goes, I'm going to take her to Bermuda or wherever. So let me book a plane ticket and say, what am I going to do about him? Oh, I'm going to arrest him. And he hatched this scheme. He's like a supervillain.
exactly. Well, not a very smart one, but yes.
No, well, yeah, a lot of them aren't, but yeah, this was a scheme that was hatched for weeks, planning and.
Even when I serve papers, even to police officers, when I serve papers, I plan my escape route. I make a mental note on when I go to if I come to your house to serve you, I point my car out.
Yeah.
I make it to where I don't have to put it in reverse and back up and put it. I point my car before I get in my car is pointed out, so that I can get in my car, drop it in gear, and go. So that if you're chasing me, you don't have the opportunity.
Yeah,
I think these things through before and it's not like I'm thinking about it but when I pull up and when I say, okay, the door's there, the driveway's this way, so I got to point my car this way, and I don't go down long winding driveways and box myself in.
Right.
If I go down a long winding driveway, I make sure that I have a route out. I put my car's pointed out before I go knock on your door.
Yeah.
And if it's a long winding dark driveway, I leave my car running and the door open.
Yeah.
I mean, it's I don't you know, it's not. I don't understand how these people don't see the consequences of their action.
Yeah. This guy had a lot of help. He had prosecutors helping him. He had another police officer helping him. He thought he was immune. He didn't have an end game. I guarantee you, the whole thing he cooked up. This scheme took a couple of weeks. He had to plan the trip. He had to book the trip. Yeah. He had to come up with a way to get rid of the guy. He had to go to his friends. Hey, here's what I'm doing. I need your help. Can you do this? Blah, blah. Oh, I can't do it Friday. Can we do it next Tuesday? I mean, I'm sure shit like that happened.
Yeah.
He goes, let me move my trip back a couple of days. I mean, there was a whole thing. But this guy didn't go, all right, now when I get back, what am I going to do? You know, there was none of that. I guarantee you. There was
no.
When I get back from vacation, what am I going to do?
You know? Oh, no, I guarantee you there was no end game.
And because of that?
Yep. Yeah. Well, they was an end game, all right. And the end game cost them.
Yeah.
And I think that any time that you are a government official and you cost the taxpayers that kind of money for violating someone's civil rights, you should have to do jail time.
I agree 100%.
I think that if you followed those guidelines, I think we would get better quality police officers and prosecutors, and we would weed out a lot of issues.
Yeah, and I think pleading out, pleading out for resigning or whatever is it's not enough. It's not enough for something like this. You violated a citizen. You betrayed the county. You betrayed your fellow
your oath of office.
Your oath of office.
Yep.
I mean, it's yeah.
Yeah, you shouldn't be pleading out should not be an option.
It should not be an option.
Yeah, you should have to face your accusers. You should not be allowed to take a plea deal and walk away with whatever.
You gotta have a district attorney that's not afraid to embarrass the department. You got we don't want to embarrass the department. Is there any way we can plead this out or something like this for this officer? Blah blah blah. No. He betrayed his oath of office. He violated a citizen. He committed adultery. At the very least.
Well, he's already embarrassed. The embarrassing part's already over with.
Yeah.
Let's mop this mess up now.
Yeah. That's what it is.
Let's mop it up and move on. It's the embarrassment part is over. Let's move on. Yeah. So that's But I agree. There should be no pleading out. You should not be allowed to plea. There should be strict guidelines. And when you do this is your consequences. You should lose the police officer should lose his ability to be a police officer. She'd be never allowed to be a police officer again. The prosecutor should lose her bar license.
Yes, and he should lose his freedom too. That's
yeah.
I mean, listen. The police force. It was created to protect the citizens and to lawfully hold up the law and lawfully protect the citizens. We shouldn't have to worry about crap like this, and yet we do.
Well, yeah, but if you become a police officer. Police officers argue, well, why should I have to live to a higher standard? Well, if you don't want to live to a higher standard, don't become a police officer.
100%.
If you become a police officer, you should have to live to that higher standard.
Yes.
If you don't want to live to that higher standard, don't be a police officer.
I agree.
Simple, very simple.
Very simple.
Yeah.
This was another good one, Lynn.
Yeah. Well, we got many more, Vinnie.
I know, buddy, and I'm having such a good fun. I'm having such a good time. I hope you are all having as good a time as Lynn and I are. Hey, if you like goofy stand up and if you like stand up comedy or goofy videos, check me out online. My website is vinnie.com, VINNIE.com. You can find all my links to all my social media. Lynn is one of the best detectives, I'm going to go ahead and say, in the world. If you need someone served, if you have to surveil someone, if you need someone found, call Lynn Lambdin. You can find out all his information on his website, which is
LWIAS.com. That is www.lwias.com. And since you mentioned that, Vinny, I will tell you that sometime, not in the near future, but sometime way in the future, we're going to talk about this dead guy I'm hunting now.
Oh, you're hunting a dead guy now.
Yeah, I'm trying to locate a dead guy now.
Holy cow, this has got to be fun.
Yeah, this is a very crazy case. You may have seen it in the news, but it's a very crazy case, and I can't talk about it. But we'll talk about it after it's closed and forgot about. We'll talk about it.
Absolutely,
Yeah,
absolutely. And I hope we are still going strong, Lynn. I intend to be.
Yeah, me too. We'll be going strong. Strong.
Yeah. Thank you, Simple Funding, for sponsoring this episode, and thank you guys for being here. We'll see you next week.